What's up, everyone? It has been a little while, but welcome back to the latest episode of Power Spike. It's your boy Digon here alongside Yamato and producer Light. I'll give you credit this time, Light. We missed y'all. I've missed y'all, as in you two. Y'all, as in the audience. EWC has been difficult to plan around. They crammed a lot more game in the day, and it's made for a good product, but very difficult to plan. So I will take the L on the planning here, everyone. I'm very sorry. Thank you for being patient with us. And for those of you who had the opportunity to come swing by, say hi, whether it was for Valorant or League or TFT, and share your support with all of us. Now this is me sharing it with Yamato and Yamato. The fans came out. The spikers came out and they said hi. And it was really, really cool and humbling to know that, you know, to feel the love from the fans and you know, what we say tracks with them on the week to week. So I know that you guys didn't get it firsthand, but it is delivered to all of us. So cheers. Thanks for coming to say hi and coming up and saying hi, making our days.
Nice. I thought it was all bots. No, I'm kidding.
Dude.
that one guy, what's his name? His name is Light. The one guy that shows up on every podcast, and no matter what it is about, he just says that, oh, they're just glazing LPL. And under every video. Was he at the event, Digon?
They did not reveal themselves. He, they, she, they, he did not reveal themselves. So we'll see. Maybe in the future. All right, let's dive into it. So we're going to cover, off the top, everybody, a check-in with coach of Cloud9, Yamato, and how he's earned APA's respect. MSI, quick recap, and just quick takeaways. EWC, a little bit deeper dive into it since it did recently happen. And then some of the fallout from that with LPL, Bin potentially stepping down, and of course, DPlus KIA looking for a new home, despite earning a lot of money from EWC. So let's get into it. Let's start with this week's sack. We're bringing it back. The sack tap is back. Yamato, tap us with the sack.
Oh.
Switch a slight.
Switch whatever.
But there's a sack bumper.
There's a sack bump.
Is this the sack?
Usually there's two bumps in the sack, but that was a bumpy transition.
So I'm tapping you guys with my sack.
Yes.
It's not you guys tap my sack.
Well, whatever floats your boat, bro.
No. That's the imagery of me teabagging you guys with some info about the team is it's good.
I love tea. And it usually comes in bags. How is the fitting into the team? You know, what things are you seeing? Now you got head coach, leader Dom in control, maybe like of the project. Like, what has jumped out of you so far in this project?
Oh, it's been for me personally a bit of an adjustment. Like working as an assistant coach and also remote is not something I'm super used to, especially when. The time zone's very different. Like, for example, now what I've done is I join for the first block and then I review the second block and just send my notes to the guys the next morning. I am observing and just giving advice to people in terms of how they should like interact with each other and how they can like gain positive influence in the group. This is how I always like to work. It's nice to work from such a perspective because you can kind of hone in on very few things and make sure to deliver things in a very deliberate manner and a very focused manner. Because in your head coach, you need to be so all-encompassing and you have to think about so many things at the same time. But there's the peacefulness and being in the background. That's super nice. In regards to the group, everyone is trying very hard. You know, I think that you know, you have the usual, you know, pro player things, you know, in the reviews, people getting stuck on their points, you know, people being stubborn, but it all comes from like a good place. I think that the potential is clearly there. I like the mix up with having 7 players. Like they definitely come with very unique strengths. I think we also were blessed that we got to get Arrow from FlyQuest as well, which I think is a big plus. I think just having people in the room and people that are very engaged and smart about the game is good. I'm excited for the first game because it's always, when you're in season, it's very different from being out of season. I think it's how people are and how people react is very unique. Now as well, I think that there has been kind of like a ramp up in the LCS level. Team Liquid being the first match is a big deal. FlyQuest is also, they are like these crazy motherfuckers, like they play some crazy League of Legends, but they swing good, they swing very, very good, and the meta is shaping up to be interesting for them. And then of course Lion as well. The competition is going to be tough, but I think we got some capacity. If you guys have specific questions, shoot at me. Shoot. What you guys want to know?
I'll do the direct one straight away. Obviously, the 7-man roster is very interesting, right? I think we had a lot to say. I think actually it was last year about the driver 6-man roster with CFO. How do you envision the usage of the 7-man roster? Because obviously there was a lot of talk about potential roster changes for C9 if they didn't make it to MSI. I think we actually had the conversation here on Power Spike before you joined C9. So, what does that look like for you from your position? Because, again, especially with Loki coming back in, I think a lot of people's expectations were Loki would be on the team from the beginning of the year. So how does that look for you guys right now in terms of like scrim time and, what's the best case scenario for usage of these players?
From my side, obviously, I'm not going to reveal too much that would give away anything strategically. But I think the goal would be in the end to make a commitment to a firm 5. Now it's we're in the process of like evaluating strengths and figuring out, what composition is going to make the most sense. It's also like the meta is so unique, so people are being tested in a very different manner, right? It's like the AP bot lanes is very, very different from what people might be used to be playing bot lane. So navigating this has become a lot more unique because ideally, you make a commitment and you're very happy and you kind of go all the way and you focus practice on one thing. That level of flexibility when it comes to like changing players mid-series and so forth, that's something that you would want to utilize, and maybe that's something that we are going to do. But it is definitely a lot more difficult to get to that point because Fearless just moves you in so many different permutations of draft and champions. And in terms of how people adjust bans, they might pull you back and put you in the same spot that might be considered the strength of the other guy. Like even CFO faced that problem, right? Like they had, of course, their 2 top laners, Driver and Rest, and then at some point it's like, you know what? We need to practice each other's champions because we need to pick them in these draft spots, and we are just in the lobby, so it doesn't happen, it doesn't work. And then I think even from CFO's perspective, I think in the end, Driver just looked like the way better player across the board, right? And I think eventually you get to that point. I think utilizing subs like that is kind of a solution in the sense that you're kind of hiding weaknesses from your opponents, but the moment they see it, they're going to use it against you, and you never want to be in that spot.
I love that, just because we've brought it up in the past with Echo Fox running that multi-man, 10-man roster way back in the day. In Korea, they had Masters, OGN Masters, I think it was at the time, where you had all 10 players on your academy and your first team in your academy, and you would be able to mix and match. And then ultimately they ended up just running their first team. It was like behind a curtain. You'd be like, who's there? And it's like, yes, it is Bang and Wolf and Faker and Bangi and Duke or whoever it was at the time. But yeah, I think evaluating that, managing those personalities is going to be the fun and fascinating thing that I'm excited to see and hear from you. One unique one is Arrow, who joined on over. What has been something that he's brought, even though this is now starting to look like a bot lane mage meta here?
I don't think it's it's hard for me to have a point of comparison. Like I am new just as he is new. I do think that having someone dedicated to bot lane that is very, excited about reviewing bot lane and the lane phase to make sure that the lane duo is just engaged with one another, I think is very crucial. I think that he has strong opinions about everything, and I think you just need that in the room. And Arrow is very experienced, he's been around the block, he's one of the OGs, just like me and Dom, so it's nice. I think we have over time kind of mapped out, what everyone's responsibilities are, which also makes it, a lot more convenient. It's like, I don't need to pay attention to lane details because I know that Vega V2 is going to cover that with the players. I am mostly looking at how we open on the map and how we base and how we connect with jungle and support, because I see this as my strength. And it's a lot easier when you can focus on something. And then if we spot anything, we just kind of lob it to the other person so they can cover it. And we are establishing the framework for how we work together. But I think at the core of it all, there is just respect, which is nice, a lot of respect. And I didn't feel in any shape or form that it was weird, the first time I gave feedback, everyone listened, and then they adapted it. And I came in already with a buy-in that Dom for sure set up, and he told me as well that the guys would be excited to have me on board. So it's been nice. It's been nice and challenging in all the right ways.
I don't know if anyone feels the same way. If you do, let us know in the comments below while you're there. Like and subscribe. But this sounds like the beginning of the year kind of interview. It's like spring, you got your roster all together, you're finally ready to go. That's what it sounds like to me,
you guys got O2'd. What the hell happened here? And then the vibe will be different,
No, but you know what, though? I'm glad you brought that up, because it is a bit of a fresh start at the end of the day, right? It is now Dom leading the project. It has been two, very disappointing splits in terms of the end product, and we spoke about that obviously. What's the environment like? Without giving too much away, especially because right now we're in a really, really weird meta. Does everyone feel that fire under their ass to make sure that they don't trip up again at the final hurdle of actually making it to that international? How is that communication working, especially from your perspective, obviously being remote on the whole thing? It's very different. We spoke with Dom at length for ages about his ability to have impact on the room whilst being in Texas from Dallas. What's it like obviously being all the way over here in Europe to LA with that in mind?
No, it's it's hard. It's very hard to set the tone right, because I remember there was this moment where I didn't like how we kind of threw leads, so I was just shouting at them through the screen. And it's in terms of how it comes across without the face and without seeing their reactions, because it's I have a cam where I see them and judging that, and then it's in the aftermath, Dom told me, yo, one of the guys thought that you were really angry at him, and he didn't know what to think, he's feels upset now. And it's yeah, it was that was partially, the goal, to kind of invoke some kind of a reaction. But, in terms of gauging that, you kind of have to have a lot of finesse to it. So it's I'm a lot more careful with how I do that. And I am more acting in a way where I am trying to give the tools to the guys in the room to interact with each other, to move forward, their ambitions, if I tell a player, you should poach this guy, you should review this, you should talk about this, I give more advice in terms of how they build stronger connections. I think this is better than trying to do that yourself while not being in the room. It's just too difficult. And obviously I have a lot of head coach experience. I'm giving Dom some pointers here and there, but he's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job. This is it's a team like this has a lot of egos, so it's tough to navigate sometime. And also, some of the guys have played with each other for a long time, and they've already been through so much, right? So there's some things that are tougher to change, and some things that just are. And Dom now is also just so many responsibilities at the same time, because this came out of nowhere, right? Inero had to take a break for himself, which is of course 100% up to him and fair play, right? Of course. But Dom was left with so much. I think in the end we've landed somewhere good because he's managing well, and hopefully he appreciates the support we're giving him. Because of course me, Aro, Vega, and even everyone on the staff is doing the best to make sure that Dom's life is easy.
Yeah, it's fascinating because as much as we're going to see growth throughout. Like last year's team was undefeated. They were the best. They proved it in those times during the regular season, and then boom, boom, loss. Feels like this is going to be a conversation that we have that hopefully goes into Worlds, right? So that'll be a lot of fun to see as this Cloud9 team continues to grow. Yeah. All right, that is SACTAP. Speaking of continuing to grow, time to remind all of you homies out there that LFN Premium, Last Free Nation Premium, is now live. Subscribers get every one of our 16 shows ad-free, access to the private Discord, and every week we'll pull up one subscriber topic onto the show and credit you by name. That's right. You are credited by name. So, and we own this thing, right? No one tells us what we can say. Our takes are our takes. We say it with our full chest. And so, definitely, if you've been a supporter of us, this is an even better way to get closer to us and help us continue to grow. When you select this show at sign up, your money goes to PowerSpike directly. You can pick any of the shows that you support. Maybe you support multiple. That's fine. You can rotate your subscription throughout. But for us here at PowerSpike, when you head on over to the site, you can subscribe specifically to the whole network, and then we get our little share of it. The perks can come in with the topic from all of you guys, Q&A that we'll do afterwards, and some Q&A videos with some of us here across the network, ad-free on everything, and the Discord. So we're really excited to go ahead and dive on in with y'all and continue to grow Last Free Nation. It has been so fun. And even here at EWC, as I've met a lot of my fellow esports friends and colleagues, people from all various veterancy levels, they're asking, hey, how's LFN doing? And I let them know I have one of the luckiest jobs in the world. So it has been a lot of fun to grow and watch. So thank you all, and excited to take this next step with you for LFN Premium. Make sure to go check it out at lastfreenation.com. And if there's any reservations, 7-day money back guarantee. But if not, shouldn't be any reservations because, we set sail together. We've been doing so for such a long time. Lastfreenation.com. Thank you to all of you who sign up for LFN Premium. We'll be excited to dive into it starting next week. So we will see you then. All right. Oh, gosh, it is surprising how many people did ask, hey, how's it going? Is that thing doing well? Yeah, it's doing well. Yamato and Jamada still like me for now. It's fine.
Barely. It was hard putting on that face for a week, mate. I can't lie.
All right. We'll see how next EWC goes for you, big guy. We did not have an episode until since week 1 of MSI. Week 2, we went in there oh, yeah, was it Team Secret gets knocked out finally by Top Esports, blah, blah, blah. We went back and we recapped that, and then we had the big matches left on up. What are our big takeaways from MSI, just in general? When we think about back at this tournament, we didn't obviously finish some of those bigger matches at the end, including the BLG HLE Part 1 and Part 2, G2 with the upset, and then losing to Lion, which was kind of crazy as well. When we think back at this tournament, what are some of those moments that we all will just kind of remember of this tournament? Jamada, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the headline is that form this year seems to really be everything. And it's like you can know something is correct before you come into a series, before you come into a match. And it just doesn't matter. in this very almost sickening way. It doesn't matter, right? The G2 Lion matchup, it deserved to be a 3-0 because G2 showed up and played like shit. But I think if anyone walked into that series thinking it was going to be a Lion 3-0 in the fashion that it was, in the convincing way that it ended up being in a lot of those games, in the back halves especially, um, you're a madman and you weren't watching the games and how those teams were playing leading up to those series. But at the end of the day, G2 showed up. They didn't play with the same level of aggression as they did against HLE, against T1 versus Lion. And obviously, we all know like Lion is the slow team. They will lap up slow-paced games and just play the map in a very lethargic way, happily. And they absolutely kicked their head in for that exact fact. So, you know, no one really expected G2 to come in that slow because they demonstrated throughout the tournament that they were willing to play fast League of Legends. And they didn't play fast League of Legends against the team that is probably the best in, I don't want to say the best in the world, but definitely the best in the West at playing slow League of Legends. So form really, I think, takes king for this tournament because there's just so many, BLG showed up and ran the map versus HLE in the first series. Like some of the best support jungle movement that we've seen all year long, especially in this meta. And then they didn't do it in the second series and finals, right? Not to the same degree, not to the same consistency. So, yeah, I think for me, the headline of MSI was really just about how important form is on the day. And I think we're in a weird time where, I'll be honest, it feels like a lot of the time anyone can beat anyone. We've had so many wonky results in the last couple of weeks that I think these matchups where you look at them and you think, yeah, this should go, Team A's way and not Team B's way. You can't look at it like that anymore. The second that something goes the way you're not expecting it in a series, that's it. You're in La La Land, and at that point, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this tournament that's going to really cap off the parity of result, but randomness is back. How do you feel, Yamato?
Honestly, this might be. I know that people are not going to like this, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth.
Here we go.
A couple of months ago, I made the claim that in terms of level of skill, Gen.G during the run from basically last year through Winter Split, LCK Cup, and their win, I think that is the best level of League of Legends that we've ever seen. So to me, they are like the best team of all time. And I think that this MSI helps to prove that. Because in a world where when Gen.G was dominant, they managed to look in a way where whatever compositions they played, they managed to make it look like this is what they always play. Whether it was engage compositions, poke compositions, there were compositions that only Gen.G could play. Whether it was full tank with Jhin AD, with Senna only, with the Pantheon and the Galio, you guys remember these ones? Or when they played the Cho'Gath Twisted Fate, like there were so many compositions that no other team would be able to execute on. And in a world now where Gen.G is completely out of form, not completely because I think Keen and Chovy are still playing goddamn good League of Legends in the Caravilo held.
Yeah.
Just when Gen.G is no longer in good form when it comes to Ruler and Duro and Canyon, and when there is of course different teams going to take their place, you recognize then instantly the difficulty of navigating fearless best of fives, big meta shifts, and basically dealing with having your prep be challenged and you landing in many scenarios where you might be uncomfortable and you can look so much different in terms of what your form is in comparison to what your form could be the next day. If we just look at this tournament, right, I think that every single team had basically a day in the tournament where like, what the hell are you doing? Whether it was T1, whether it was G2, whether it was, of course, BLG against Lion or HLE against BLG the first time around. This got giga smoked. HLE almost lost to Lion. Like they played a composition with Yone, Rumble, Vi. And I thought that those are three champions that HLE would never ever lose with. Making sure that your form is consistent, just to bring it back to Gen.G and what they did through Fearless, they managed to almost not lose a single game. through the era of Fearless. So that to me just makes them even more impressive. Obviously, the World's Resolve sucked, and easily you can say that they choked there with what BDD did to Chovy and that BO5, of course. But I do think it speaks to where we're at right now in League. It's like dealing with this shift, especially now as the meta keeps growing and everyone's mind has just like expanded. Everyone's playing AP mages, and now we saw Akali bot lane into the mages, and it's just going to be complete rock, paper, scissors in the sense that it's going to go around where people are going to be like, oh, so you play Akali into Victor, then we're going to start playing Renekton into the Akali, and then we're going to be playing Vayne into Renekton. You know, it's going to go full circle. For 100% we're going that way. And in that chaos, I do think that there is a lot more room for upsets, because as you can see, it's like everything is so skirmish heavy. We're fighting left and right, and in that world, if one player is underperforming, it has such a drastic effect on everything. And the odds of one player underperforming is very high, especially at an international. So I do think that we are in the era of chaos. And MSI ushered it in.
Yes, thank you. I remember you, I don't know why, but I remember you saying the era of chaos. And it is, you know, as someone now who's kind of, you know, taken in the LCK and so used to not perfect play, but like clean play, it is messy. And it's kind of like, I'm trying to be okay with it, being like, wow, this isn't solved League of Legends. People are just asking questions and they're figuring it out along the way, and we're holding on by the seat of our pants, learning with them on the fly. And MSI really hit that one home. Daejeon, great host city, was very, 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 very humid, unfortunately. So it was very like freezing inside the venue and then hot and sweaty outside. But I loved, you know, the first time I got to do a Riot International within the LoL Esports ecosystem. So I won't forget that either. And thank you to, you know, the analysts, the audio guy, the stage staff, like just people that I've worked with over the last 8-9 years since I left Riot that were still there working, and they were all just so kind and so supportive, and that's how I remember this MSI as well from a personal standpoint. So, all right, now we get to connect it to EWC. But before we do that, it's time to remind you about one of our new partners joining us here on the Last Free Nation Network. It's Huel. Now, guys, I don't know about you, but I've had to think about what the laziest meal ever was. And I know as my brother, he would stick an egg, he would open an egg, put it in a bowl, throw in a slice of cheese and then a piece of bread and put it in the microwave. And that was the meal. He called it a meal, and that's what it was. So I kind of wonder, you know, there has to be an easier way to get exactly what I want nutrient-wise in a full meal today. And that's where Huel comes on in, because Huel, not a supplement, but a complete food here in a meal that you can use to stay on top of your fitness gains and your goals that you want to achieve. When you're busy, when you're on the run, boom, Huel has you covered. You've got the Black Edition powder, 40% protein, and it mixes with water or milk in just 30 seconds. So you have that complete meal instead of food. So it's not a shake on top of food. It is your meal with 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. And the RTD bottle is the grab and go version with 35 grams of protein, 7 fibers, and it comes out to under $5 a meal. Yamato, what do you think of Huel?
Honestly, surprisingly delicious. You know, you think to yourself, you know, if they manage to pack all these things into one bottle, it's gonna taste like some mad cocktail. But they managed to actually make it taste wonderful. I got the strawberry flavor, and you can have it cold, you can have it just so, which is nice. And it's extremely filling. It's like you worry sometimes when you like eat something that is like liquid that your like stomach might not like react well to it by being full on it, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It's just straight up a meal, goddamn convenient, and it's just a nice backup because I don't take care of myself well. I work way too hard, way too much, and making sure that I stay healthy is crucial. But finding shortcuts to do so is important, and Huel is exactly that.
HUEL, Huel, and they have a limited time offer making healthy eating simple. Get Huel today with the exclusive offer of 15% off online with our code LFN at Huel.com/LFN. That's HUEL.com/LFN for new customers only. Thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting Last Free Nation. All right. We're rolling right on into the tournament that Yamato wasn't able to get to. Almost next time, I promise, brother. And Yamato was able to get to. Myself, it was EWC, the third edition of it. The first year went to T1, the storybook ending, and then Gen G came in a thrilling 5-game series against Anyone's Legends under the moniker AGAL. And this year was kind of crazy. They expanded the tournament a little bit. They had more teams. Sentinels beat Team Secret Wales. Team Secret Wales beat the Chinese team. So Sentinels had a moment to make it to day 2. Basically, if you won, you made it to the next day. If you lost, you had one more chance to make it to the next day, and had some teams bomb out. Lion end up bombing out after being the third team in the world after beating G2 at MSI. They go 0-2 and they're out. G2, they won a game, but then eventually lost. The crowd in Paris was kind of crazy. Getting to firsthand feel the blue wall. The T1 KC was crazy. The 40-25 was the score of T1 versus GAM Esports. Like, there were a lot of moments here. Yamato, you got to co-stream a lot of it. What jumped out at you?
I think the biggest thing for me, right? A big narrative always, especially as we're going to approach the World Championship, the biggest narrative always is going to be T1, regardless of the form, how they landed to the World Championship, and everyone's expectation that they're going to do great and win the tournament, regardless of how they do. But I feel like this year is very different in comparison to previous ones, in the sense that they have lost against teams that they would never lose against in the past. And fucking, what the hell is a butterfly in my room? Did you see that shit?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what was that, bro?
What the hell?
Almost
Where
died.
it come from? It's just the T1 butterfly. It's like, yo, you're about to toss some shit.
It reminds me, I need to close my window before it turns into Jungle Book in here. 1 second.
Anyhow, always when T1 was at MSI, they could always clutch out these series against teams weaker than them, and they would, lose out to a very strong BOG or a very strong Gen G, and regardless of how their run-up was or how they made it to MSI, it just didn't matter. They would be competitive. They would lock in, and the T1 fort in terms of upsetting them just always seemed impenetrable. No matter how close teams were. Even last year at Worlds, MKOI, I remember when Team Liquid, when like Pioshik had like the Lee Sin game of his life, they couldn't beat them. Like, upsetting T1 just seemed impossible at internationals. And now that aura has been broken completely. And I think it works two ways, where teams are going to be like, they are beatable, and also T1 is going to look at it through the lens of, we are beatable. Because I do think a big part of it is mental, And I do think as T1 walk into Worlds, regardless of what happens, they qualify to the World Championship, I do think that this kind of leaves a mark in terms of how people are going to view them and how they view themselves. And at the end of the year, the big question that we asked at the beginning of the year is, regardless of how good Pays is doing, he's playing out of his mind. If someone told me he's the best ADC in the world, I'd be like, fair, no problem. But at the end of the year, if they don't win the World Championship, none of it's going to matter. None of it's going to matter. Because Gumayusi is definitely a part of that aura of T1.
the aura, and of course, winning MSI. And then the factoids of what is it? Zeka and Zeus are now players that have won all the trophies. I guess not EWC because Zeka didn't win that one, but Zeus has won all the trophies. He's Grand Slammed it. Guma leaves, then wins. It is. There's a microscope on it. That move, anytime those boys that at one point, I guess, raised by red, now representing the orange, find success and T1 doesn't, that's always a big talking point. And we got to see that in our first quarterfinal matchup. It was T1 versus Hanwha Life Esports, and that went the way of T1. So, over at MSI, it was Hanwha Life getting further along, but here, just straight into dealing the blow, and then you get the visceral moment of breaking the key. Like they broke the key of Hanwha. Like it was just, there were a bunch of like storylines all over the place. Yamato, what's one that jumps out at you?
Ooh, I mean, as I was technically the lion guy at the beginning of the year.
You were the lion guy.
Which, by the way, just carry on a bit here for a second. When I said lion over G2, what I actually did was I pulled out a crystal ball, I looked into it, and I saw what was going on Summoner's Rift. But what the ball didn't tell me is that it was MSI and not first then.
I see.
But
you're listening to the wrong ball, bro. There's only two balls that should guide you.
May they never guide me often. So I think it's the lion story for me. I think the fact that they not only like lost, I think losing to JDG is whatever, right? Like I think that's a respectable enough team to lose to on a day. It was, I don't know how harsh I want to be. It was mildly pathetic, I think, for their standards. But getting 2-0 to Brazil and like the games looking like they should have been Lion wins, at least the first one, into losing in the fashion that they did, in the manner that they did, it was just very unbecoming of them as a team. Now, granted, they obviously played MSI like deep into it, and that travel schedule couldn't have been, particularly pleasant. I think they played on the Saturday. They would have probably traveled on the Sunday. Maybe one rest day, Monday, Tuesday is media day. Straight into games on Wednesday. Like it's a tough schedule. It's a real tight turnaround. But given what they just shown us internationally, going 5 against it, you know what? Fuck it. I think they easily is a strong wording, but they could have beat HLE on the day, man. That wasn't outside of the realm of possibilities of how that series could have panned out, given what was shown to us.
At MSI, yeah, I agree.
At MSI, so to drop out to Brazil when they probably could have at the very least given JDG a run for their money, man. Like, come on now. In a rematch in a best of 3, I think that was probably the disappointing thing for me. And it does bleed into, not to go too far away from EWC. Obviously, we got the news that Inspired is taking a personal break, like it's going to miss maybe the first 2 to 3 weeks of the LCS. Thankfully, he said everything is okay. We got that communique from the team. But it does always kind of make you wonder, like, how much they must feel confident, assuming it's not something super serious on Inspired's end, to be able to let him go for a couple of those weeks. Because again, to see the ceiling of that team at MSI and then they kind of just shit the bed and don't really do much. They just feel like a very traditional NA team internationally at EWC. That was the thing that I was kind of sad about, because I felt like Lion could clutch up in best of 1, best of 3. Quite comfortably. Obviously, best of 3 is what NA plays in all the time now. We're all in best of 3. And I wanted to see them versus more teams at EWC. And unfortunately, that was kind of denied due to their own performance. So I think that was the story. And there's obviously one other big one none of us has touched on, which is the DK stuff. I don't know who wants to handle it, if at all.
We'll wait for that one, because that, I think, can be its own thing. We found out at EWC, but that wasn't necessarily EWC itself. I think DPlus winning the tournament, amazing. What an amazing run. Smash backing up his smack talk, shutting up KC. But I think we haven't even talked about KC. We haven't talked about the mage meta coming out of fucking nowhere, and now we're just evolving it all the way in. Kalist putting T1 to the sword on Victor. Like, it was just so much was happening. Now that I'm done and I've had time to kind of process what happened at EWC, I'm like, holy shit, that was, yes, it was best of threes, which included kind of crazy days of these, best of ones early, but a lot of stuff happened, and I'm really glad that this tournament exists with the GSL style formats, with win, improve it, lose, and you're out. It stinks that some teams get knocked out so early in the tournament. Maybe there's a world where we have 2 weeks instead of one. But I mean, I think the LPL started like almost right away. Obviously, LEC happening today as of this broadcast. Right now, they've got the LCS Classic matchup, CLG TSM playing right now, which is kind of crazy. But if there's a space in there to make it a little bit longer, and I did do that on-camera interview with Chris Greeley, head of LoL Esports. If you have any things that you're mad about LoL Esports, you can send it to him. That's why they pay him the big bucks. Saying like, hey, we like third-party tournaments. We are trying to do more with that. And they'll see what they have in the future. EWC kind of leading the way with that has been really, really fun to watch as it's grown and evolved. So, and allowing a new winner of DPlus going all the way there. It was probably the most boring series. It was that best of 3 or best of 5 that was basically 3 over KC. But man, there are just a lot of great storylines that came out of Paris here.
I want to talk about the meta quickly.
Please.
In relation to Fearless, actually. Because obviously everyone knows I'm the big anti-Fearless guy. It took a while for Fearless to, I wouldn't even say win me over, but to at least get me in a state where I was, you know what, cool. It can exist, it can be a thing. Guys, I thought we wanted diversity. I thought that's what we wanted out of Fearless draft, guys. And now we've got a little bit of diversity. It's a different flavor entirely. Why are we so upset collectively? I'm just curious. I want to know. I want to know why everyone's upset about the mage meta. You know, like everyone wanted to not see the same sets of champions show up every single time. And not only are we not seeing that because Fearless innately enables that, we're now seeing completely new champions in different roles. Partially emboldened by Fearless. So I just want to know. I actually just want to know what's the problem, everyone.
Yamato, do you have an answer for this? Because I have an answer, but I don't think I'm as educated as you are.
I don't think it's a problem.
I don't know. I don't open Twitter much anymore. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what demons you're fighting, Devara. I post and ghost. I do think I understand the complaints, from ADC players that like have played a specific role and are like pushed away from it. I do think that there was more room for exploration always. That this was like a Pandora's box that would eventually be get opened. But I think in terms of changes that should occur, because I think the flaw of the game right now is that supports are ridiculous. Like supports just warp the game in a way that is just not punishing at all. And I think if that wasn't the case, I think that the middle ground would feel so much better. Because at least you can lock in like Lucian Milio, and then it's like, oh, enemy support is a Nautilus that is top level 1, top level, like mid level 2, and doesn't come bot. You're 20 CS ahead, but it just doesn't matter, and you're hoping that you can pressure enemy AD enough for the support to show up. I think they just need to, if they nerf support, then I don't think the situation will be as oppressive. Like they just need to create an incentive for supports to actually be bot, because Camille, I don't know if you guys watched, for example, MCoy today versus G2. They played a Kali bot lane into Victor, and they had a Camille that just like invades enemy jungle, fights and just perma fights and just is on the screen, is just taking the spotlight. The camera guy just can't move away for 1 second. He has to be on Camille because she's perma fighting, and then Akali just gets solo XP because Camille is out pressuring any form of pressure you could do bot lane in the 1v2. And I do think that part of the game is very toxic. I think that needs to be nerfed. But the rock, paper, scissors element, I think it's about time ADCs also experience that. Because I think anyone that plays ADC has been in that spot and is like, oh, the enemy comp is just really good against ADCs. And then you pick an ADC anyway. You know? No, that's the time when you need to buckle up, chin down, and pick a mall fight, you know, and just go to 30 CS down and be useful.
Look, I've said this for ages. I understand ADC is obviously a very niche role in the game comparatively to the rest of how League gets played. And that can't be ignored. But you guys are big baby bitches, bro. Like, junglers have to change like their entire way that they play the game, assuming they play meta and not just fun shit. Like, if we're talking pro players, like they've got to change champion pool typically, you know, at least almost twice a year. Yes, there's the main staples that always stay in, like, you know, your Vi, Wukong, Xin Zhao, etc. But stuff is always coming in and out. It's the same thing for top laners, mid laners, and supports. This year, the support pool has changed effectively 3 times, and we're in July. Like, the prioritization and champions that are in could change again. Maybe 2 more times before Worlds happens. Like, guys, you right-click heads for a living. Calm down. Calm down.
I like right-clicking heads.
And that's fine. And that's fine. But you know what? Maybe after 16 years, it's time to lock in a mage. Maybe you're just clearing waves and you're getting prio for your team. Maybe that's your role. And maybe if you do that well, things will be good.
Someone in chat is saying Degon is destroying his chewing gum right now. It's like, yeah, man. Like, I've spent so much time mastering the A click, the orb walking, and now I have to land abilities. I have to manage mana. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. You know, if I miss the ability, I lose all pressure in the lane. Like, I don't. Getting used to that is difficult, but as you guys have very rightfully argued, it's time that we get used to it and lean into it. So, again, I will bite the bullet and bitch to Riot until they change it back to regular AD carry meta. I'm going top. I'm playing Mundo.
I just want to remind everyone, the role is not called AD carry in the client. What's it called, Degon? Because you know what it is. What's it called? Get it? Come on, get it out. What's it called? What's it say in the client? It doesn't say AD carry. When you queue up, what does it say when you click that role?
I hate this shit, man. I hate this.
Bottom. It says bottom.
Right. Cool. Thank you. Thanks.
You said you can play Mundo top. You can play Mundo bot.
Yeah.
Come on now.
You can play Mundo bot.
All right.
Come on, doctor.
Please don't report me Korean solo queue. I may or may not be coming to a Mundo bot.
Throw some cleavers, baby.
It's just tank your Ezreal, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, those are some of the big takeaways from UWC. Last, let's
go on.
Okay. No, because I'll bring it up next. We're moving the order of things. I'll bring it up next here of after we tell you about our friends over at Factor. Now, you're hungry, but you're exhausted. There's something healthy in your fridge that you should be making, but you just don't have the energy or time to do it. You know, getting the cutlery, getting the plates, that's tough. And I want to be great. I want to be strong at getting better with my health, but it's not a willpower problem. It's a setup problem. That was until Factor came along into my life, which is now helping me hit my nutrition goals this season without the planning, the grocery runs, or the cooking. Now, Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support. For strength and recovery workouts, check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. It helped me slim down for my wedding. It's crazy. The photos were great. Factor #1 at that, because they have their fresh, never frozen meals with over 100 of them rotating weekly, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian. So there's always something to look forward to. You can try the newly launched ready-to-eat salads with vibrant ingredients like corn and miso edamame, plus 70 add-ons to round out your nutrition from green juices to peanut butter energy bites, and they can be ready in 2 minutes. Factor shops, preps, cooks, and delivers straight to your door so you have more time to do the things that you love. Yamato has waxed poetic about his Factor meals, whether he's overseas, whether he's at home, whether he's in Texas, whether it's those late night grinding sessions through VOD reviews for Cloud9. He's using Factor to make sure it's all good. Right, Yamato?
Goes, baby.
Boom.
All over the world. Factor, so damn consistent, bro. It's so impressive. So consistent, bro. I haven't had any complaints all over the world, man. I'm Mr. Worldwide Pitbull up in this bitch, eating Factor meals in every country, every corner of the world. Delicious every time. Come on now.
So head on over to factormeals.com/powerspike50 off and use the code powerspike50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until September 27, 2026. See the website for more details. That's factormeals.com/powerspike50 off and use code powerspike50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription while supplies last. Thanks to our friends over at Factor. All right. Now, let's dive into the feel-good story, which has kind of a sad back end, and we're not sure how things are going to go. It's DPlus KIA. Guys, I got teary-eyed. Before even Showmaker explained it, when Showmaker came out against Carmine Corp, and he's holding the key, it feels good, is out there, stands in front of it, and he's getting booed. He's getting booed by the KC fan, by the French crowd, which is pretty great. He started, I feel like I haven't seen him smile that big in such a long time. Like he was reveling in being the villain for this French crowd. And it wasn't all French. I think it was like 75% French. I think it was 25% cheering for DPlus, fans of T1 and Hanwha and Gen G that all went by the wayside. Plus, they had the T1 Gen G match before in the third place match. So there were Korean fans there. But man, like he had this big smile on his face. And it just reminded me of how much he's had to go through, specifically as a player. He's got a rookie bot lane duo. He has a 1-year vet at top lane who barely, you can barely get him to talk. And then he has his former Rookie of the Year award winner, second year candidate at jungle who speaks like a sailor when it comes to like Korean. They don't use him in content for Lucid, that is, because the way that he says things is like brash and rude. And, that's his team. That's who this whole org is built around. For him, it's like, here are these bandits. This is a group of bandits here. And he's the one that has been relatively consistent, always leading the way, pulling out the Twisted Fate when necessary in spots where it doesn't, going back to Syndra, his quote-unquote ex-girlfriend that he's had to give up because the meta's moved away. And it was just so awesome to see him win again and see him play at the peak of his powers and shut up the crowd and eventually win them over. It was awesome to see that. It was awesome. Smashes, rise up, the Lux play by Career. All of them had great moments in a year and more than that for Showmaker of disappointment, of choking, of failing to reach heights, of embarrassment with CV Max, like having to put out his statement earlier. They finally did it, and I'm just so happy for them. And that's in the face of this news that is broken, that they are in a financial crisis, that the players hadn't been paid in a month. And I remember this came out like while they were playing, and then DPlus literally put a statement out 30 minutes later, which never happens in esports. They're like, yep, it's true. This has happened. We're trying to sell the team. We're doing what's best for the players. And, they did have to wait a month to get paid. That really happens too. It was just such a mess of things. So Yamato, when you think of the whole situation, D plus in their play, add EWC, and then the storyline of all that, plus financially in the background, it's a little tumultuous. It's just a great story.
Yeah, it's like just where you started as well. You know, that's where also Showmaker really cemented his own journey. You know, he's there to make libraries. You know, he won his first worlds and he turned the whole place into a library too. You know, like he probably got shivers down his spine. It's like, damn, I'm here again. You know, so I'm gonna be in my element. I think it was amazing to just see as a big. I've always been a great, like, really, really big Showmaker fan. But DPlus as an organization has pissed me off so much in terms of the decisions. They renamed from Damwon, which was a badass name. Maybe that was a sponsor or something. I have no clue. It was a badass name. That's all I care about. Damwon. And then, like, this era of them bringing in aiming and barrel also pissed me off so much. My man went up in smoke playing Molten Ramos in the end. Showmaker just was, just suffering. And not everyone has that, kind of sheer force of mind as BDD does, because he's one of a kind, to, overcome any situation he's in. But Showmaker was like imprisoned, I felt like in this team. Like he could have been so much greater. I do feel like through this tournament, we got a glimpse of what could have been something so much more frequent, And for me, I see it as something lost, but also something beautiful in the sense of what could have been too. Because he stayed loyal to the organization, and then eventually, he stopped getting paid, and they won a tournament. And they did it with this gang, This gang is too funny because the whole CV Max was livid after that best of 3 against KT is just unforgettable. When he's sitting there with just no socks on, with his feet just pointing out, and he just, started dropping bars on the players.
Yeah,
you're the MVP of fail, you're the ace of failure. It's just you were by far the worst player in the game.
you gotta hit it with the delivery. It was you were the MVP. The MVP of losing. Oh god, dude, that was wild.
Buzz. And then, I always thought that CV Max was kind of like it's hard to know from outside, but to some degree, like also misunderstood, It's like and now to see them all win a tournament after all that shit, we just know that in LCK they're gonna disappoint us in some fucked up ways. We just know it.
Yep.
So to just have a one moment where everything comes together, God bless. We at least get that. And I think for DPlus fan now they have a lot of copium. The supply is running high again. But what a journey is. Also, it's like, look at who they beat. They beat G2, But G2 got clowned on for in the beginning. But then to beat BOG, Gen G, that is a demon run. Like that is a crazy run. When they met Casey in the finals, like Casey had softer resistance. They had the most flaccid version of AL I've ever seen in my life. And then they had T1, different timeline T1. I've never seen T1 lose with 3 nationals ever in my life. And DPlus just came into that final just ready to go. Insane story. Beautiful story.
Not done yet. We still know the disappointment is coming probably in LCK, and I feel like even just that feeling of like, wow, that feels good. And we know they're going to lose later. That expectation is already set. Either they're going to achieve that and we'll be like, yep, we knew, or defy it and be like, I guess KT is not going to Worlds or whatever it ends up being. Like DPlus have all of a sudden made themselves relevant again to take space in our thoughts and in our hearts. Yamato, go ahead.
Just one final thing. You just know it's going to be some bullshit too. It's going to be the bracket, and then in the bracket, they're going to beat like Gen G, and then they're going to lose the next match, go into the lower bracket, and then KT are going to beat them. to get the 4th spot.
Mm.
You know, you just know it. And it's going to be some cooked shit like reverse sweep. It's going to be like 3 games of Talia Pantheon bot lane because CV Max is stubborn as all hell. It's going to be some bullshit. You just know it.
You know what? So BJO says DPlus against T1 for 4th. Oh, shit. That would be good. That would be good. Holy. All right, Yamato,
After last year as well. Oh, you're a sick individual. I think for me with the DK stuff, I actually want to touch on something. This is tangential, but does obviously involve Showmaker. It was the crowd stuff. With Showmaker, because, well, I'll talk about Showmaker first. It was fucking incredible. I extended my stay beyond when I was supposed to leave Paris because I wanted to hang out with everyone. And so I came to finals day, and I was in the crowd actually, for the DPlus KC series. And when they came out and I heard the boos, I thought to myself, "Oh, here we go, classic KC. Obviously, we're in Paris. They're gonna try and make the DK boys or the DPlus boys as uncomfortable as they can." And then I looked up at the screen, and Showmaker was smiling. And I picked up my phone and I immediately just said, "DK are gonna 3-0 these guys." I knew exactly what was gonna happen. I immediately and then to hear after the fact that because he's tapped into football culture, of all things, because he's tapped into football culture, he heard the boos and it didn't unsettle him and it invigorated him and it made him want to shut them up. That's script level shit. That is script level shit. How often do we talk about the divide between, the Eastern cultures and the Western cultures in terms of these kind of things, right? Where in nature sometimes, Chinese and Korean players are described almost as a bit robotic and a bit emotionless, right? To see that in that moment, I think was absolutely incredible. The fact that he, for me, was, besides effectively Smash, really, the clear runner for MVP for a majority of that series. On top of that, I think just made the story even better. So the fact that that's the reaction from him, I thought was incredible. But I also wanted to touch on the crowd stuff a little bit more broadly because this happens a lot. And it probably happened today. I didn't watch the broadcast with audio on. But obviously, the first week of the LEC is in Paris. I'm assuming the KC fans did the exact same shit and they booed all the teams that weren't KC. I think in esports, and again, doubly, especially after what happened just last week with DK, we need to stop associating booing as like this negative connotation thing when you actually have these passionate fan bases, these larger fan bases present that are there to support their team because they are effectively just doing their job. Like,
well, it is negative. I think maybe not disrespectful.
But this is the problem. I think people who are maybe not familiar with sports culture in Europe or just in general, they will conflate these two things directly. And it does jar me as someone from a sporting background. But I think we need to just do a little bit of growing up. Where it's like, I said this as well. I think the KC fans have gotten, in person, have gotten many, 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 many things wrong, right? I'll give you some examples. First stand, and Degon, you were there. It doesn't get spoken about a lot.
I was there.
But
I got mad.
Right? There are a lot of things, and this isn't something that's spoken about a lot. The KC fans in Low Park were like kind of just weird. Like they were really trying to. I understand you want to bring your culture to a place and you want to be the way that you are to support your team, but when in Rome, like that's how it has to be sometimes. If there isn't a middle ground that's met and the other party says no, you can't do that, you have to respect that, and that's not something that was particularly welcome by the KC lot. And I think they got that wrong, and they did act kind of childish around that. In my opinion, there have been things that happened.
They were arguing with the staff, and the staff
yes,
were
yes,
really
exactly,
kind.
Exactly. And so I think that is an example of them getting it wrong. There have been plenty of different, you know, ongoings at the LEC studios since the KC fans, or since the KC introduction to Tier 1, where they've just been misbehaving, broadly speaking. But one thing you can never, ever fault them for is their actual support for their team and their players and the organization. And I think, yes, if you find it cringe, then you find it cringe. I'm not here to change your mind or your opinion on it, but they're there to give their team any edge that they can find. And if that means booing the other team on walkouts, so maybe they feel like they're in a hostile environment, and even that sets them off by 1%. As fans, they've done their job. As fans of a team, they've done their job. Like I can't really stress this enough. I don't think it's inherently toxic. I think the faker thing at a Red Bull League of its own. I know obviously they tried to claim, oh, it was only like a group of like 5 or 10 people. Like that was cringe. If you don't find that cringe, I think you're just in the wrong like headspace. But when it's settings like that, I have no issue with it whatsoever. And in this case, it had the inverse effect and actually had a fucking crazy payoff for anyone who's neutral, and of course, an even crazier payoff if you're a DK fan. So, yeah, I think we need to kind of just use our heads a little bit more contextually when these things happen. And they're rare because the only real fan base that are going to do it are KC fans in France and the MK fans in Spain right now. Other fan bases aren't really big enough to do that. And in other cultures where fan bases are large, it's not a part of their culture. So they won't do it.
A couple of shout outs to the KC fans. When Yamato was coaching me at the event, when they beat T1, he like got out and went into the stands. And it was just such a fantastic moment. It's on my phone. They were right in front of the English studio. Yeah. That was great. I thought it was great that they booed Lion during the intros of all the teams and whatever. Lion came out, they booed Lion. I was like, that makes sense to me too. Like, that's fair and fine. One thing I didn't like, they showed 2 T1 fans crying, like 2 gals that were crying when they got knocked out.
That's shit house, man. That's shit house. No,
and then they booed that. I was like, that was kind of not nice. That was not nice. But otherwise, it's gotten a lot better. And you're right. Like all hammering home the addition of the energy and all that. Like they're learning. It is better. And yes, they won too, so they can do that. It is a little BM. Sure, it's a little BM, but also, they take it when they lose. When they got shut up by DPlus,
yeah, they stood there and they cheered DK right until the end.
Mm-hmm.
I was right at the top of the arena. People barely left. Not many people left until DK came up, took their bow. Everyone applauded them, and then they scrammed. So yeah, sure, they gave it to them, but they also made sure they gave them their flowers as well at the end of the series. Yeah. So it's not like they're there just to be disrespectful or this or that. They're there also as fans of the game, as well as fans of KC, at least in that example, right?
Yeah.
Other times things can be different, but that was a positive example of it.
Yeah, shout out to the Blue Wall and the growth and just, getting to chat with Yamato several times throughout the event and sharing a couple car rides. But ultimately, I will leave with when they did the totem ceremony, they put the key into the totem. That totem's going to last for as long as EWC lasts. DPlus KIA is there. They have their photo with the trophy and the banner that's going to last all year long. The last trophy lift was Showmaker, and everyone was chanting his name. It was just, it smashed MVP for sure. But, the Showmaker. I mean, everyone was doing it. It was just getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was just so great for such a great ambassador of our sport who's gone through a lot of downturn and heartbreak. To get that payoff was awesome. Literally payoff. Because, again, the financial issues follow them. Basically, from what I read, DPlus KIA is owned by like a K-pop organization that does producing, they manage some products, marketing, all that stuff. That part of the business makes money. But unfortunately, the DPlus side is not making money given some losses that they've had across multiple different titles and the team for League of Legends, getting more expensive and failing to make it to Worlds. So they've cut costs, but they're still looking to sell. I hope that they find a new home. I hope that I'm sure they will get paid because LCK won't allow that. KESPA, this is where the government officials, I'm sure, will step in here because that's the whole point. And Riot won't allow that. All three of those entities there, making sure one of their marquee world-winning organizations, one of their stars and showmaker, doesn't have to go through that of like wondering, will it get solved? It will get solved. It's more of the sense of when, I imagine. So, all right. Yamato, we yapped a lot. Any final words here?
No, just showmaker, legend, bro, legend. I agree on the KC fan front. Like even now with the event, I think people are understanding it more. I think there are certain lines that and certain circumstances when it's true competition, I think it's good. And I think the most important thing is to have grace in defeat and post match. I think that's the most important thing. I think that if you're booing during like some kind of ceremony of anything, or like it's like the moment the match is over, it's also everything else is over. Then it should be pure respect, pure love, because then you're showing love and respect for the game too. And I think that EWC was super nice. I think right now the event now in Paris is also looking great. And I think that's a very important part of esports, because as much as I like to clown on like LCS, I do think that LEC has been very lucky that you've had like people and organizations that have fought very hard to get into the LEC and have moved mountains on their own. Because what MCOY is doing and what, of course, Casey is doing, like they were practically not a part of the LEC, and they came in and really brought back road shows, in a way that comes at a cost to them because of how much influence they have. Because just imagine a world where the sell of Astralis would never happen, the sell of Rogue would never happen. Let's say, Mad Lions would keep being Mad Lions, and there would be no merger with the Ibai project, and the rise of the Phoenix and that random Twitter thing that happened. The LEC would suck ass. Let's be honest. We would have it would actually suck ass. It would be G2 still running the region, and then you just have a crazy amount of just decay. So the LEC is very lucky.
Yeah. All right. That closes the chapter there on EWC, DPlus, and a little bit of KC there at the end. All right. As we move on to our final topic, things on fire. It's time to remind you about our friends over at Into the AM. Now head on over to intotheam.com/LFN-T3 to check out our brand new collaboration t-shirt. This is a design of a real Korean palace to celebrate MSI. Head on over to intotheam.com/LFN-T3. Super awesome shirt. Again, you've heard us wax poetic about Into the AM and how great they've been in terms of a partner. I wear a lot of the clothes on the broadcast. Got my trusty shorts with me there. If you go to the link, you'll see sexy model Monty showing off the shirt now. Again, it is intotheam.com/LFN-T3. LFN-T3, TEE3, and check out our brand new collab with Into the AM. Thanks to our friends at Into the AM. Okay. Finally, we had a lot to catch up on. We're almost caught up, except the fires. Everything is on fire in the LPL and with Ben. Thank you, Light. That was what I wanted. I wanted you to switch right there while I was finishing my thought, but gathering my thought, I guess. The LPL had 3 teams in the quarterfinals. No, go further back. BLG, Golden Road. That was the storyline. That was the thing. Deservingly so as well. When you think about this roster, what they've all gone through, winning their first international as an organization, you're like, okay, I can get behind them being the Golden Road guys. Plus, they seem worthy of it. And they fall at the last hurdle in the last game to Gumayushi and the gang in game 5. Okay. All right. Bounce back. Let's go get that cash and help our team win the club championship. BLG, Billy Gaming, one of the teams part of the EWC Club Championship program. And they also crash out there in the quarterfinals. LPL has 3 teams, three teams in the quarterfinals. Not a single one of them make it out into the semifinals. And if you made it into that semifinals day, you're going to play on the final day no matter what. Then after all that, Bin announces he's going to be taking a break. Needs to take a break after all the smack talk and, playing well. He didn't play well. But then in some of these big moments, didn't quite back it up as much as we're used to him seeing that. And then it forces BLG now to go through a search. Was it Flandre that was going to come on over? HOYA, his name is being floated currently. Are they just going to use their young guy behind Ben? It's just like finally it felt like things were in line. The result doesn't happen over at MSI, and then things start to fall apart. The one awesome part is that I did get to meet JDG over at EWC. They did a fan meet, and I got to shake Junjia's hand and tell Gala that I love him and that Honkyu's great. It was really cool. But other than that, things are on fire. Yamato, take us away here. Where do you start?
So it's just such a crazy story. The latest rumor now from LPL Inside is the fact that HOYA is signed, and that's a done deal. He's also showing up on BLG websites. So Wembonyama, his story was short, but he was loved. I always appreciate the rookies that just get sent into these positions like Poby or Smash, or I always have a lot of empathy for these dudes, and he did all right. He did all right at the Great Yorick game today, for example. Anyhow, like the whole BLG story, honestly, LPL as a whole is just so damn disappointing, because obviously in terms of measuring regions and in terms of your capacities and what you can achieve, either your region has to be like some extreme outlier, like Dagestani wrestlers, and how all of them are good somehow because they have figured out a way to train, or you need to just leverage your resources available to you, and China and the LPL had everything going on for them. They had the most amount of players, they had the most amount of money, and that should allow you to, of course, create success. And to some degrees, they did, right? It's like you brought in very strong imports, and you managed to, win World Championship titles. But in terms of all of these issues along the way, it's just that the LPL is so goddamn unserious. Whether it's match-fixing scandals with Nayu, or terrible GMing of just discarding rookies after one split, and the complete destruction of the LDL, and on top of that, obviously the unfortunate fact that it's just harder to find talent due to just laws implemented for players under the age of 18. All of those things playing a role, and everything, like not using that positive momentum to build something concrete. And I think that part is the most disturbing. It's like every time we hear some drama coming out of the LPL, even like what Shanks did like mid-year, he just went, and turns out he was just being insanely misogynistic on stream. Like it's just so disappointing, because everything was there for success, and BUG to me was and is like the final chance. This is the team where they actually stacked it to the brim with players, right? if for some reason Knight and Bin are never going to play again because apparently Bin's parents insulted Knight's parents, and Bin's parents are just liking posts about that are insulting to his teammates, it's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? So for that reason, we're going to have the two best players in their position not play with one another. That's just insanely disappointing and ridiculous. But sometimes, sometimes you don't need the best players in every position to succeed. Some things go over that. And Bin always struck me as, one of the most talented players of all time, 100%. One of the most talented players by far. But all these stories we also always heard from the LPL about him is that he's just a massive diva, right? Massive diva. And maybe this is the best thing that can happen to him. Maybe this is the best thing that can happen to BLG. But it's crazy to be here after, I think back to where I was when they were about to play the finals against HLE. Like, it was so exciting. I was calling Danny the ego wrangler, but maybe this is his way of ego wrangling, because, HOYA is not going to be better than Bin, but Bin can't be bigger than the team, right? And if the rumor is true, right, that Shun and Knight are the ones that just don't want to play with Ben, like, that is enough already. Everything, all the rumors we heard about Shundo, like that guy seems to be a saint. What an angel, what an angel. He built a house for his parents. He grew up very poor. He played League by boosting people in internet cafes because he couldn't pay the money. Was always the sweetest guy, apparently, from what we're hearing rumors wise. So we need to protect that guy at all costs, So if Ben harmed him, fuck Ben, super talented, but screw that, It's just sad that it has to be like this, because we're just if BOG falls apart, then we're just back to square one, LCK dominance at the World Championship.
Yeah. Yamato, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's to touch on Bin. I think Bin needs the Mourinho treatment. That's what I think Bin needs. He needs someone in staff, and obviously we were hoping it'll be Danny, to come knock him down. We need him and CV Max get the link up going. Just put those two in the same room. But just the overall collapse, I think, if this does end up happening, which all signs point to it being potentially more than just an immediate, term thing, would just be horrendous for the LPL. Purely on the basis of, I think this BLG team is probably, it won't get spoken about it like this, but I think this is one of the best teams to play the game that really didn't end up achieving much in the grand scheme of things. When you think about the longevity since 2023 to now, the placements in internationals have been pretty crazy and almost entirely consistent, bar Worlds of last year. Like, they've been finishing pretty much top 4 every international. I think that is their track record, and it's more top 2s than top 4s. I'll tell you that right now. So I just can't see the LPL in its current state, with the way that teams look and the way that talent is scattered across. Don't forget, we've still got the player auction thing is probably going to happen again at the end of the year, right? Like, that wasn't like a one and done. Like, that's still in rotation. So that's going to be another hurdle to hop over as far as, roster building is concerned. There's just so many barriers to entry to being a good and effectively elite team in terms of what you can put together from the get-go. And this BLG roster is kind of, it's a remnant of the past of the LPL, and there's no other rosters really like it in China right now. And that's just the fact of the matter. And there won't be another roster like it, dare I say ever, but like for a while. So I just, frankly, as an LPL fan, I'm just sad. That's actually the emotion. I am just, it's saddening. I hope whatever BLG land on results in, positive outcomes and success, right? It would be funny as hell if they go to another TT alumni in HOYA, and then they they end up, going to Worlds. Things look shaky, and then surprise substitute Bin. I've seen the script before, but yeah, Bin seems to be a diva. It's been a running story for a long time, and no one seemed to check his ego.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that you'll run into with certain players. Their egos are just too big for their own good. And if there's not a big voice on the team to shut that down, and then there's not a big voice on the staff to shut that down, this is the only thing you can do. If he is causing issues like this, you've got to fix those issues. But it's bizarre to think about, because in the scope of things, we're talking about a team that is arguably top 2 in the world right now, top 3 in the world right now, and they're having these issues. It's mind numbing. It's really, really mind numbing.
I'm not, obviously I'm very happy for Guma, and he deserves this success, and I wouldn't change it, right? Guma made the move out and then wins with Hanwha and beats beats T1 throughout. Like it's cool. But my boy Viper did not sign up for this. Viper did not sign up for this. Like, he came there to be part of that super team, and now HOYA is his top laner. Like, what is this? So, I don't know. Someone in the chat said, get 369 ASAP. I think that's a cool shout out, But I
Flandre's
don't
benched
think
too,
top would let
like,
him go, man.
God, then Flandre is
Who's
benched.
as well? Flandre is benched.
All the OGs. Yeah,
Maybe we're finally losing the old generation of LPL top. What is now the old generation of top laners? Like I used to call it like the Elite Six. Where it's like I'm probably not gonna name them all first go, but Bin, Flandre, Ala, Breathe. It's kind of the top 4. There's 2 more that are escaping me.
369.
369 and then like X. Like there's someone who's normally like the hurdle player to get into that top 5. And almost all of them are hurdle player. I mean, that's the way that the top lane has always been in the LPL for like the last 5 years. There's 5 to 6 elite level top laners. Then there's like the middle of the pack players, your guys like traditionally, I suppose, Xiaoshu until recently. And like your cubes. And then towards the bottom end of that, and then the very bottom end, you got like people like HOYA and Shanji until the OMG roster like explosion. Those are the kind of that's the tier list of things. But we might finally be losing that top echelon to have a new generation of like Xiaoshu's in. Xiaoshu looks good. If we don't keep on shooting rookies on on frame 1, we might finally get a new generation in of like, hey, ZDZ looked good in some of his time occasionally. Like he's been here for a while now, but maybe he breaches in. You never know with these kind of players. But they're not being given the opportunity. They keep on getting thrown into the frying pan.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on LPL and some of the changes they made. I got to, I'm going to ask. I got to talk to one of the hosts who is here covering EWC for the Chinese broadcast. And I think she's great. She's very knowledgeable. Shares a lot. We'll start popping up more of the broadcast there. And so see what she has to say. Come back later. All right, y'all. That does it. That was a big episode for a big catch up. And I'll say it here. Put it in the official, I guess, meeting notes, podcast notes. We haven't done a great job of sticking to a day and a time. We've been pretty, had a lot of things. Yamato had things. Yamato was doing tournaments. I got married and then had this. And I want to make a promise to all of you. Light's going to make it happen. We're going to try to stick to a day, stick to a time, and rebuild that synergy as we continue to plow forward throughout. I can already say the next hurdle I have is my honeymoon, which is at the end of the LCK season. But other than that, we'll work together, get that time to build that consistency together, because when this show is humming and going, I have so much fun with these guys. I have so much fun with reading all your comments, and when you guys hold us accountable, when you give us props, and when we make fun of the people that just have terrible takes. I am just really proud and happy of what we've been able to build, and some consistency there will help us keep taking it to the next level, as well as LFM Premium, which you can sign up now by heading on over to lastfreenation.com. Any final words here, Yamato and Yamato?
Fantastic segment, bro. You are a salesman through and through. Yeah, happy to be back. And we will, like Digon said, we will be consistent. It's on us. We're all busy. We all take up different jobs and side gigs and main gigs. I'm blaming Digon the most, though.
It was me. I mean, Yamato, you saw how much I was doing this fucking week. It was a lot. It was a lot here. You didn't see. Yamato?
Yeah.
I'm doing too much, bro. Like, what am I doing in my life, bro? I'm doing too much. I have to go into scrims. Bro, I've streamed since 9 in the morning, bro. And it's midnight. Oh, what am I doing? But I can't say no, I will dominate, my boy. I can't say no.
One last job.
One last job. I've been saying this for the last 6 jobs. I said they just pulled me back in. Oh, man. Yeah. Just watch. Perks. What if the perk story doesn't work out and then G2 come calling, like what happens then?
You about to work with the Go to the West? One last job.
Or I'll be the one to say no. Ooh. Nah, I'm kidding. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen. Perks is going to do well. Okay. Blessings to you, boys.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you guys as the seasons pick back on up for the summer splits. We start getting closer and closer to qualifications to Worlds. Bye-bye.